Hey Reefers, welcome back. Okay, so today we're going to touch on the topic on the Hawaiian ban and the lifting of it. What does this mean for the hobby? Well, the great thing is that yellow tangs will be more readily available. With the lift of the ban, what I've read is there's going to be a huge drop on the amount of species that they can collect. The list used to be 40 species. Now they are only allowed to collect 8 species, as well as commercial permits for collecting ornamental marine fish will also be dropped from 10 to 7. Yes, it's great news that the yellow tang would be more readily available. I've seen a lot of comments on social media, guys saying, "Oh yeah, yellow tangs are going to come back to normal." Unfortunately, I doubt we'll ever see normal prices on yellow tangs again. We as hobbyists have unfortunately played our cards to the pet industry, and the pet industry is the organization that has been funding this court case for the last 2 years, almost 2 years. Yeah, the ban happened, it was January 2021. And yeah, so we definitely aren't going to see normal prices, but we were going to see more availability around the world of yellow tangs, and prices will possibly drop. Well, not possibly, I'm hoping they're going to drop, but then they're going to normalize at a more affordable rate. But there's going to be more abundant yellow tangs available. I mean, like for example, us in SA, I think since COVID hit, we haven't had many yellow tang shipments landing. Us ourselves at Reef Maniacs, our last shipment of yellow tangs was February 2020, and then COVID hit. And then obviously restrictions of flights, we never got any yellow tangs or any American shipments until after the Hawaiian ban, because obviously there was lots of flight restrictions, and only once it started loosening up and we could actually get from the States, the Hawaiian ban was already in effect. So for us here in SA, most of our fish that we order from the States are Caribbean orientated and Hawaiian orientated, and North and South America fish. Like I said, our last American shipment was in 2020, which was just near the end of February, and we got our last shipment of yellow tangs. Actually, I don't know if he's come into picture, but our resident yellow tang here is from that last shipment. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to keep him, and when I was unpacking the shipment, I think we had 12 yellow tangs at the time, and as I was unpacking the shipment, he was the size of a South African 5 Rand coin, which is approximately that size. One of the smallest wild caught yellow tangs I'd ever imported and I'd ever seen in a store. So I thought, well, I have to keep him, watch him grow. And I mean, we've had him since February 2020, and there he is there. He's grown up nicely, very happy Okie, and he's our resident yellow tang in the store. Yeah, so as for prices going to normal on the yellow tang, I highly doubt that. I don't see us ever getting back to what we used to sell yellow tangs for before the ban came. We understand with the captive bred, it was a case of supply and demand. Like I said, here in SA, when we were actually able to get USA shipments, our supplier told us straight off the bat that we will only see yellow tangs on the list when they meet the requirements for their local supply, which is in the US. And unfortunately, we never saw yellow tangs on the list. We did see yellow tangs on Bali Acreage lists, but the pricing was just ridiculous. I mean, for us in South Africa, give you an idea, we were selling this when this shipment of yellow tangs came in 2020, February 2020. We were retailing them for 1,400 Rand. At that point, it was around about just under $100 a yellow tang. Now, when the ban hit, and I saw 1 or 2 shipments that did land in South Africa, they were selling anywhere between 6,500 Rand to 8,000 Rand. The math on that, I might be wrong, but would be close on $500, maybe just under $500. I'll put the actual figures there on screen. So I mean, that's a huge jump. It's like a 500% markup. we understand supply and demand, and if you want the yellow tang, but yellow tang's sold at these exorbitant prices. So the pet trade has seen this, and the pet trade is wise to the fact that we are willing to pay for a yellow tang. I mean, I never ever thought I would see the day in South Africa where a yellow tang sold for the same price as a gem tang. I mean, where gem tangs became more readily available in South Africa than yellow tangs. I mean, Madagascar was doing a wholesale special on gems where we landed in SA. Guys were retailing them for between 3,000 to 4,000 rand for a gem tang, where before that gems were on average between 6,000 to 7,500 rand. Yeah, and then like yellow tangs were anywhere between 6,500 to 8,000 rand, which is just ridiculous. But like I said, I don't see, unfortunately, I do not see the prices of yellow tangs going back to normal. Especially it's been almost 2 years since the ban, so obviously with inflation and fuel prices as they are around the world, obviously there would be increases there. But I do see yellow tangs being a lot more than what they would be if the prices hadn't, or if the ban hadn't occurred. But they would, I hope, normalize and become a bit more affordable for everyone to enjoy. Obviously, this also comes down to their restrictions. Not only have they restricted the amount of species that are allowed to be collected and the amount of permits, they've also restricted the amount of individual species that will be allowed to be collected. So the annual bag limits are going to drop as well. I don't know what the numbers are there. Obviously, as we get more information, we can give more information. But at the moment, this is what we've got, and it is good news for the industry. As far as I know, fish that won't be able to be exported from Mauritius anymore would be the banded angelfish, the Hawaiian flame angel, and the Hawaiian Achilles tang. Fortunately for us, those aren't only found in Hawaii. Where, I mean, I think we are all mainly excited about the flame angel. I know they are still allowed to export the Potter's Angel. Well, they will be allowed to export the Potter's Angel, which is a nice angel. Good to see. I haven't seen a lot of them lately. I'm not sure if their region is only Hawaii. I do think they are found in other regions as well, but that will just bring up the surplus of Potter's Angels. But like I said, I think all of us are just more stoked and excited about seeing wild-caught yellow tangs again. Obviously, it's going to be policed correctly, hopefully, and there's not going to be any issues further on down the line. And I just hope that the guys that have been doing it, do it sustainably like they have been doing it in the past. What is an aquarium without a yellow tang? Me personally, I never used to be a massive fan of yellow tangs until I got my first one, and yeah, it's a beautiful fish. I mean, this is my second yellow tang I've ever owned. This guy's coming on February will be 3 years with us. The one before I think I had for close on 10 years, maybe just on 10 years. Yeah, and then I had a crash on the system and I lost him. But it was a great fish and I really did enjoy him. Like I said, prior to that, I wasn't a massive fan. I just thought, it's a yellow tang or whip-de-doo-da-day. And then when you actually own one, and there's no other fish out there that's that solid, beautiful yellow like that with that white scalpel on his tail. Just a stunning fish. I've brought in the yellow Scopaz tangs. They are nice. They're not a replacement for the yellow tang. They're their own fish. I mean, the ones that I've had have been brilliant yellow, but it's not quite the same yellow. I do like the look of the yellow Scopaz, to be honest. The first time I imported a yellow Scopaz, it landed. I ordered one just to make sure that it's the right fish that I wanted. Well, not the right fish that I wanted. It was what it said on the package. And then when it landed, it looked like a normal Scopaz tang. So I thought to myself, I just paid about 5 times more for a yellow Scopaz tang that looks almost exactly the same as a Scopaz tang. And I thought to myself, well, let me just leave them. Let me see what happens. And the next morning I came into the shop, turned on all the lights, looked in the tank, and there's this slightly yellow tingish but normal looking yellow Scopaz tang. I thought to myself, no ways. I've just spent 5 times more on this fish. How am I going to sell this fish for yellow Scopaz tang money when it's not a yellow Scopaz tang? And I sat down behind my desk, turned on my computer, looked up, and all of a sudden this fish was bright yellow. It was actually quite an amazing fish. Every time he got spooked, he would look like a normal Scopaz tang, and then all of a sudden look like a yellow tang again. But I digress. Going off the topic now, I still don't think you would replace a yellow tang with a yellow Scopaz tang. I just think, these guys have a place in the hobby, and I'm just glad that Hawaii has opened up their ban, and I just hope that everything is done correctly and we don't have this issue again. Yeah, and like I say, we will never see normal prices on yellow tangs again, because we've played our cards to the pet industry and what we're actually willing to spend. And also you've got to think about the money that the pet industry has put into this court case for almost 2 years now. So they want to see some form of a return. But if I'm going to pay half of what the prices were now, I would be super happy. Yeah, so like I say, let's keep an eye on this uplifting of the ban for Hawaii, and like I say, it's great news for our industry. It's going to be good to see some wild yellow tangs back in the mix. Yes, I'm all for captive bred, but when it comes to a point where it becomes unreachable for most people, it just becomes difficult for the hobby, for other people to enjoy it. Yes, I understand that, a lot of fish die in this industry from importing, exporting, just general mistreating or neglecting. But from the Hawaii catch station point of view and the exporters in the States, these guys keep their systems in pristine conditions, and they go all out in making sure that the health of the fish is priority number one. And I've noticed this over the years importing from the US suppliers, and to date I think we haven't had an American shipment since 2020, but before COVID, February 2020, which was the last shipment we had here. But from the start of the Reef Maniacs, which is the end of 2018, I think we've brought in close on 50 to 60 yellow tangs, and majority of other fish, royal grammars, flame angels, blue spotted jawfish, pearly jawfish. And the dead on arrivals, I don't think we've lost any fish. If I remember correctly, I know I have not lost the yellow tang. And not to say that the yellow tangs that I've all brought in are all still alive today. It's just, what I'm saying is the conditions of these systems are all pristine condition. So at the end of the day, yes, it's up to us as hobbyists to make sure that we give our fish the best quality life we can give them. Making sure our water conditions are always tip-top shape, and making sure they're fed well. And when the disease or something comes in, the sickness comes in, we deal with it straight away. I mean, they are our pets at the end of the day, and we are responsible for their well-being. So we need to give them the best possible care we can give them. Guys, thanks for watching, and happy reefing.